What's up, functional bodybuilding community? We are talking about glutes today. We're actually talking specifically about the abductors, the muscles that are gonna move the thigh away from the midline, or also known as side butt. That's right. That's this muscle and this group of muscles right up here. People like to call the side butt. How are we working that? And I'm gonna get to a movement called the clamshell side plank or the side plank clamshell. But first I wanna just talk generally about how we train that. There's a number of different ways that we can train that and we use in our Persist programs. One of them, and many of you have seen this, is a lateral banded walk. So I'm standing mostly upright. I have a slight bend in my knee, but I'm keeping tension on the band as I walk side to side, and that really starts to light up those abductors, gets them to get real pumped, get some good blood flow and some good contraction there. But again, that was with legs slightly straight. An isometric or a straight contraction version of that, where we're not contracting, eccentrically and concentrically, would be like a star plank. So if I do this star plank, this bottom leg is pushing against the ground. I'm getting that kind of side glute, that side butt to contract and to fire. And I can get a pretty good contraction, although this is a challenging position for a lot of people. Might not be able to hold it for very long. And to try and add in some contractions, it can get really tough. Now the reason for that, and same thing with and the similarity that it shares with the lateral band walk, is that we're doing it with straight legs, or a slight bend to the leg. Now another way that we can train that same contraction is in a bent leg position, and that's this clamshell side plank hip thrust that I really appreciate, because I'm going to now put my knee at basically a 90-degree angle, which shortens the lever from where it's touching the floor to where I'm getting that contraction. So now I'm getting that same contraction as I was before, but because it's a little bit of a shorter lever, I'm in this bent leg position, I can focus on it more. It's not as demanding. I can do more repetitions. I could do 20 repetitions of this side plank thrust, side plank clamshell hip thrust, and I can really focus a lot of energy and attention on that muscle group. A couple things to think about when you're doing this performance-wise is you see that the top knee is also coming up in the air, all right? I'm actually getting a little bit of contraction in this top hip side glute as well as I lift that up. I'm getting it in the bottom. This is the primary place I'm contracting. The other thing that I'm doing is as I sit back down, I'm bending my hip, but at the top, I'm extending the hip. Hinging a little bit at the waist, extending at the waist. I want to make sure my elbow is right underneath my shoulder. This top hand I end up putting right here on my hip just for comfort. Doesn't really matter where it is. And if you see me from this angle, or if you were to be facing this way, as I hit the top, there's a straight line all the way down my body like that. Now, one more variation, if you really want to get spicy, is you can take this TheraBand, put it around the knees, and then as I press up, I'm spreading that band apart. That's gonna make this glute work that much harder. This one's still working about the same, so I'm getting both upper and lower hips to fire in abduction. Great way to work your side glutes. Get that rump pump either before you start training in your pre-fatigue pump, or as part of a superset with something like a sumo deadlift to really overtax the glutes. I hope that helped. Enjoy. Catch you next time.